Hi, Tom back with another video here on SEO. Today we're going to be looking at some of the SEO tools you should be using. There are so many out there that you can use to monitor technical health of your website, discover new queries that users may be searching for, and tracking performance of your content. We've put together kind of a few of the most popular ones that we use, including kind of the Google suite, and some of the kind of industry leading tools. So let's have a look. The first thing you should be using is Google itself. Sounds really silly, but when was the last time you looked at your own website through the eyes of a user, searching for your website, your content, your competitors' content, etc., looking at it through SERPs or search engine result pages? There's loads that loads of information you can kind of gain from looking at results pages. You can, for example, see the different types of results. Are there videos for that type of content? Are there websites that are using structured data to pull through things like reviews and breadcrumbs? Is there information kind of related to the knowledge graph in these kind of about panels around kind of your company, etc.? Is there Google News information around stories? Is there a story feed? Should you be taking advantage of that kind of content for your business? Video content, there's usually a whole section devoted to this. Google pulls through videos from YouTube and can even create and transcribe sections for it, so you can find the useful points in videos. And also, people also search for PAA, or people also asked, is usually in the form of a kind of drop down or questions in SERPs, and that can help you understand if you're answering the kind of questions around a topic or your business well enough on your website. So over to the tools themselves. The most important one here, I would argue, is Search Console. Search Console not only shows you about performance, it shows you issues with technical aspects of your website. You can use it to create query clusters and understand how themes of queries are working well on your website, or how subfolders are working. It's useful for tracking kind of positions over time, as well as kind of getting an understanding of what's working well and what's not within your content. Google Trends is a really useful free tool. Again, tend to use it for things around keyword research. Are there themes that we're seeing an upward trajectory of? Useful for kind of structuring your content and planning more than anything, as well as looking at kind of the negative aspects. Is there particular products that you sell, for example, does it have a seasonal decline before Christmas, or does it have a huge increase around Christmas? It's useful to see things like that. Page Speed Insights is another free tool that comes from Google, and you can use it to get a better understanding of how well your pages are performing. It uses Crux data, which is, it basically looks at how real users are using your website and gives you a score kind of focused around core web vitals. But if there's enough people going to your website, then what it will do is it will tell you how well your pages are responding. Are there any issues? And you can dig a little deeper using kind of Chrome developer tools to better understand what the problems are, be that around JavaScript or large images, etc. Moving on to some of the paid tools, Screaming Frog is arguably the best SEO spider out there. It's a tool which you use to crawl websites. It looks for links in HTML and JavaScript, and maps out your whole website. It'll give you everything from your page titles, meta descriptions, to being able to hook it up to PageSpeed Insights API and find out which pages are performing well, which ones are performing poorly. And you can really use it to get a deep understanding of the technical health of your website. A lot of it can be quite confusing when you first start using it, but there is a free trial. You can, I believe, crawl up to 500 pages on the free trial, so it's really useful. Particularly when you've got problems around things like broken links, redirects, sitemaps, robots.txt exclusions, and everything in between. Okay, the schema.org website, this relates to structured data, and structured data is a way for us to get rich results and allow Google to kind of connect the dots between what our page is about, who's written it, what kind of other elements that they might not be able to gain just through reading the content. There's things like person schema, product schema for rich results in search engines, lots of things you can take advantage of to get those kind of rich results in search engine result pages. Things like the reviews schema, for example. So worth having a look at, seeing what your competitors are doing as well. Answer the Public and Also Asked, kind of similar in some ways, but they look at two different sets of data, two different types of data, but essentially they are used as a way to understand what else people are searching for around a keyword or theme. So you can go into those websites, they've both got free elements to them, and you can get an understanding of what people are also asking about those subjects. So it can be really useful for kind of keyword research, as well as just getting an understanding of, are there elements of your content that are missing key answers to questions that people are searching for. The next section, they are kind of all-encompassing SEO suites for the most part. SEMrush, Ahrefs, and Moz all have a bunch of tools within them. I believe all of them have free trials or free elements to them that you can play around with. But essentially, you can use them for keyword research. So seeing an estimated volume of how many people are searching for subjects, who's performing best for those kind of subjects. You can use them to monitor technical health and set up kind of scheduled crawls, which you can also do with Screaming Frog, but it's a little bit more technical in the Screaming Frog setup. You can look at backlinks with them. They really do kind of cover a whole breadth of SEO kind of tools within the tool themselves. So really useful, but the caveat with them is they can be very expensive. If you're a solo user that has a small budget, then you might be able to stretch to one of the lower budget ends if you have constraints there. If not, then the kind of free version will get you only so far. But so worth playing around with and perhaps combining 2 or 3 of them and seeing what works best for you. AccuRanker is a tool that you can use to track your ranks. Whilst you can see this performance in Search Console, and arguably Search Console is the truest kind of data because it's what we get from Google, or at least we believe it to be the truest data. AccuRanker is useful when you want to look at how your queries, so you create a list of, say, 100 keywords that you currently rank for, that you want to see how that performs over time, and you want to see, you know, how some of your key competitors are doing in that space. So you can add competitors to AccuRanker, you can monitor how that performs over time. You can get a sense of some of their kind of proprietary metrics they use, things like search of voice, share of voice, which works on click-through rate and search volumes. There's lots that AccuRanker can be useful for, but again, it's a paid tool. I believe you can get some small amounts tracked for free, so worth having a look into and seeing what works for you. If you don't have budget for that sort of thing, though, you can go back to Search Console and you can start manually monitoring kind of how your performance is doing, and then just kind of referring back to the SERPs to see how your competitors are doing. And the last one is Majestic, which looks at backlinks, backlink profiles. And while Google have come out recently saying that links are not kind of in the top 5 most important things to rank for, they are still the backbone of the internet. This is how websites are connected. So it's really useful in getting a sense of how your website is connected to others kind of globally. And another really powerful aspect of it is looking at your competitors. You can get a sense of are there links from the BBC that link to specific articles that my competitor does? If they're getting content links from really reputable sources like the BBC, then perhaps we should look at kind of, would that kind of content work for us? Is there something that we can put our own angle on? Making sure that everything is unique and oozes expertise, authority, and experience and trustworthiness is kind of what we're aiming to get there. So there is a lot of SEO tools out there. These are just a few of the ones we tend to use, or I tend to use very regularly. Let us know if you have any that you would suggest, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks.